Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we step into one of the most enduring, unsettling, and intellectually haunting mysteries in modern history, a case that blends death, secrecy, coded messages, espionage, forbidden love, and a man who seemed to exist without an identity. This is Inside the Mystery of the Somerton Man. A body with no identity, a story that begins not with a life we can trace, but with a body found in silence, and questions that refused to die for more than 7 decades. Our story begins in the early hours of December 1, 1948, on Somerton Beach near Adelaide, Australia, where the body of a well-dressed man was discovered lying against a seawall, positioned calmly, almost deliberately, as if placed rather than collapsed, his legs crossed, one arm resting gently, no signs of struggle, no visible wounds, no blood, and no immediate indication of violence, creating an eerie first impression that this was not a chaotic death, but something far more deliberate. The man appeared to be in his early 40s, physically fit, neatly groomed, wearing a suit, tie, polished shoes, and dressed far better than one would expect for a casual walk on the beach, especially late at night, yet there were no identification documents on him whatsoever. No wallet, no passport, no papers, and even more suspiciously, every single label had been meticulously removed from his clothing, a detail that immediately suggested intent rather than accident. Authorities initially suspected suicide or poisoning, but the absence of obvious toxins, the lack of a suicide note, and the strange dignity of the body's placement left investigators deeply unsettled, because this was not how most deaths presented themselves. When an autopsy was conducted, doctors found that the man's organs showed signs consistent with poisoning, yet no known poison could be detected with the forensic tools available at the time, leading to the official cause of death being listed as unknown, a rare and troubling conclusion that only deepened the mystery. As the investigation expanded, police searched for clues in the man's pockets and belongings, discovering small, seemingly insignificant items, a comb, a pack of cigarettes with a different brand hidden inside, a bus ticket, and most importantly, no personal identifiers at all, as if this man had gone to extraordinary lengths to erase himself from existence. Weeks later, in a breakthrough that would turn the case into legend, investigators discovered a tiny, rolled-up piece of paper hidden inside a secret pocket of the man's trousers, bearing just 2 cryptic words, Tamám Shud, a Persian phrase meaning, ended, or, finished, commonly found at the end of poetry books, a phrase that instantly transformed the case from a mysterious death into a riddle that felt symbolic, theatrical, and intentional. Police soon traced the phrase to a rare edition of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, a book of poetry, and astonishingly, a copy of that very book was later found abandoned in the back seat of a car near Somerton Beach, its final page torn out, matching the paper found on the body. Inside the book was another shock, a series of strange, handwritten letters arranged in lines, resembling a cipher or coded message, along with a phone number that would lead investigators into one of the most emotionally complex chapters of the case. The code itself baffled experts for decades, resisting decryption and fueling theories that the Somerton Man was a spy, especially given the timing, the early Cold War era, when Adelaide was near sensitive military installations and intelligence activity was widespread. The cipher's structure suggested intelligence-style encryption, not random scribbling, reinforcing suspicions that the man may have been trained, disciplined, and operating under secrecy. The phone number in the book led police to a nurse named Jessica Thomson, often referred to publicly as Jestin, who lived just a short distance from where the body was found, and when she was shown a plaster cast of the Somerton man's face, witnesses reported that she reacted with visible shock before quickly composing herself, a reaction that raised immediate red flags. Though she denied knowing the man and refused to elaborate further, investigators later learned that Jessica had once given a copy of the Rubaiyat to a man during World War II, a man she claimed was named Alfred Boxall, and for a time, police believed Boxall might be the Somerton Man, until he was found alive, still in possession of his own copy of the book, effectively eliminating that theory while leaving behind even more confusion. Jessica's evasiveness, combined with her apparent emotional response and later revelations that her son may have shared rare genetic traits with the Somerton Man, including unique ear and dental features, fueled decades of speculation that the two were connected through a secret relationship, possibly involving espionage. illegitimate parentage, or a deeply personal secret that she took to her grave. The case continued to spiral outward, drawing in cryptographers, intelligence experts, psychologists, and historians, each offering theories ranging from Cold War spy activity to romantic suicide, to accidental poisoning, yet none could fully explain all the evidence at once. The erased labels, the coded message, the rare book, the unexplained poison, and the complete absence of identity. What made the Somerton Man especially terrifying was not brutality, but precision. Everything about the case suggested planning, control, and intention, whether by the man himself or by forces surrounding him. For decades, the mystery lay dormant, occasionally resurfacing in public imagination, until advances in forensic science reopened the case in the 21st century, particularly the use of DNA genealogy, a technology that had solved numerous cold cases around the world. After years of effort, researchers finally made a breakthrough, identifying the Somerton Man in 2022 as Carl Charles Webb, an electrical engineer from Melbourne, a revelation that answered one question while raising many more, because while a name was finally attached to the body, the deeper mysteries remained unresolved. Why did Webb erase his identity? Why was he carrying coded messages? Why did he die under such suspicious circumstances? And what was his true relationship to Jessica Thomson? Even with a name, the story refused to settle into clarity, because knowing who he was did not explain what he was doing, who he was involved with, or why his death unfolded in such a calculated, symbolic way. The Somerton Man's case stands today not just as a mystery of identity, but as a psychological puzzle, a portrait of a man who either chose to vanish, was forced into secrecy, or became entangled in something far larger than himself. His death challenges our assumptions about how well we truly know the people around us, and how easily an ordinary life can slip into extraordinary darkness. And now, as we step away from the quiet sands of Somerton Beach and return to the present, we are left with a chilling realization that for decades, the world searched desperately for a name, believing that identity was the final answer, only to discover that identity was merely the beginning of the mystery. Thank you for joining me on this deep exploration into one of history's most enigmatic deaths. And as we close this story, remember this: some mysteries are not about who someone was, but about why they chose, or were forced, to disappear, leaving behind only fragments, symbols, and a truth that may never fully surface, because the Somerton Man may now have a name, but his secrets remain buried, silent, and unfinished.